Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. The Manchester United board have had talks with Zinedine Zidane. Zinedine Zidane has let the board know that he doesn't feel ready for the Premier League at the moment and prefers to take a break until the summer. Now it has said that Zinedine Zidane is interested in the Manchester United job, but there's a problem. Zidane's wife is not attracted to the idea of living in Manchester. Zidane's close relationships with Ronaldo and Varane could persuade him to join. Ronaldo wants Zidane at Manchester United. Ronaldo knows Zidane well. He played under him at Real Madrid. It's said today that Man United have made progress in talks with Zidane. I reckon that Zidane would be the man for Manchester United. I think he would get us back to that level where we should be at. He would suit the strappings of the club and he would be capable of winning trophies. Zidane is managerless because he left Real Madrid in the summer. You've got to admire what he did at Real Madrid. He won a lot of trophies at Real Madrid, so reflecting on that, he's got a good pedigree behind him. Zidane has not yet managed in the Premier League, so it would be good for him to come and experience the Premier League. Brendan Rodgers is preferred over Zinedine Zidane. Brendan Rodgers is leading the race to replace Solshkar. Brendan Rodgers is still house hunting in Cheshire. The Manchester Evening News said the other week that Manchester United are ready to trigger Brendan Rodgers' contract clause if Solskjaer gets sacked. And earlier on in the season, it apparently said that Brendan Rodgers has already verbally agreed to become Manchester United's new manager, but his preference would be to wait until next season because he said he's reluctant to leave Leicester midway through the season. Should Brendan Rodgers replace Solskjaer? You've got to admire what Brendan Rodgers has done at Leicester. So far at Leicester, he's won the Community Shield in the FA Cup. He's got a contract with Leicester till 2025 and he's been in charge of Leicester for almost 3 years. Now, Solskjaer, Manchester United have decided that they'll have to replace Solskjaer. But it's still not clear when they will sack him. Solskjaer is expected to be in charge for the game against Watford this weekend. Recently, Solskjaer returned to the Carrington training ground. Last week he was away in Norway after he granted his players a week off. Reports were saying the other week, like I updated you, that Solskjaer was waiting to be sacked after leaving Manchester. Earlier on this week, It did say that the Manchester United board have not yet made a decision on the future of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and Fabrizio Romano came out and said that Man United want to continue with Solskjaer for as long as possible, with the view to assess the situation in the summer. Reports said last weekend that senior stars want Solskjaer sacked. That was stemming from Duncan Castles. And recently, he said 8 Man United stars feel misled by Solskjaer with the broken promises he made to them during the summer. I can't see Manchester United sticking with Solskjaer until the end of the season. Well, I hope we don't have to stick with him until the end of the season. When Manchester United sack Solskjaer, they'll have to pay Solskjaer around $7.5 million, because in the summer he signed a new 3-year contract with an option of a further year. I'm surprised Solskjaer is still Manchester United manager. Reflecting on Man United's recent struggles, Man United have had back-to-back home defeats to Man City and Liverpool, and we've only won one of our last 6 Premier League games, and we're currently sitting 6th in the Premier League at the moment. After the Liverpool humiliation, Solskjaer should have been sacked, because if we'd have sacked him after that defeat to Liverpool, I can assure that Man United would have got Antonio Conte. Can't get Conte now because he's at Tottenham. A lot of United fans have said, though, that if Solskjaer really cared about the club, he would resign. But obviously he's not going to resign, because he doesn't get paid anything if he resigns, and he refused to resign after the defeat to Liverpool. The reason Solskjaer's lasted as long as he has done is because he's a legend of the club. Disregarding him being a legend of the club, I can assure he would have been sacked a while ago. And we all adore Solskjaer, reflecting on what he's done for the club. Solskjaer was a great player for Man United. He endured 11 years as a player for the club, and he had a proven pedigree as a player, but unfortunately he has no proven pedigree as a manager. At this moment in time, Manchester United are in a huge predicament, and the way to get out of this huge predicament is to get a change of manager, and structural changes are also needed at the club. This season is Solskjaer's 3rd full season as Man United manager, and I did say at the start of this season that this season was going to be massive for him. But I just feel as though that the expectations are far too high for Ole to exceed as Man United manager, and Solskjaer's in a position that he shouldn't be in, and I can guarantee he's not capable of winning trophies as Man United manager, because he's not yet won a trophy as United manager, and we haven't won anything since 2017. The board still continue to back Solskjaer, and they backed him very well in this year's summer transfer window. Man United enjoyed a very good summer transfer window this year, made 4 signings. Brought Tom Heaton in on a free from Villa, brought Sancho in from Dortmund, brought Varane in from Real Madrid, and re-signed Ronaldo after 12 years. 3 of the 4 signings we made in this year's summer transfer window were major signings. Solskjaer's enjoyed like 5 transfer windows now as permanent Man United manager. But you know, Solskjaer's just losing the players, and he's also losing the fans' support. Solskjaer got appointed in December 2018 to replace Mourinho. He's been permanent United manager since March 2019. And the reason he got the job on a permanent basis was reflecting how well he did when he first came in. Now, there is positives regarding Solskjaer. I think since he's coming, he has developed the youth well. He's more or less giving everybody their chances to express themselves, like he surely would do when he got appointed in as Man United manager. I do think Solskjaer's made good signings as Man United manager so far. Solskjaer signed 14 players. Man United have spent over 400 million under the Solskjaer era. Some progress has been made under Solskjaer because Solskjaer's got us to semi-finals. He got us to 3 semis in his first full season. Last season he got us to the semi-finals of the EFL Cup. Last season he got us to the quarter-finals of the FA Cup, and last season he got us to the Europa League final, and that was his first major final as Man United manager. But unfortunately we didn't win it. And last season he got us a second place finish, and in his first full season he got us a third place finish. Solskjaer's also got rid of a lot of players since he's come in, which he knew he had to do. He's loaned players out, and he's also got rid of a lot of players permanently. And Solskjaer's also beaten quite a few big name managers as Man United manager. He's beaten Ancelotti a few times. He's beaten Marcelo Bielsa a few times. He's beaten Jurgen Klopp in the FA Cup, but he's not yet beaten him in the league. He's also beaten Thomas Tuchel. He's beaten Julian Nagelsmann. He's beaten Jose Mourinho. He's beaten Pep Guardiola as well quite a few times. So there you go. So they are the positives regarding Solskjaer. But Solskjaer knew when he'd taken over at Manchester United, he had a lot to do, and he knew it was going to be a massive job and a difficult job despite him knowing the club through thick and thin. All he's managing one of the biggest clubs in the world. Solskjaer is inheriting players who other managers have brought in. Obviously there's still Jones and De Gea from the Ferguson era is inheriting. There's still Matari from the Moyes era. There's still a few players here from the Louis van Gaal era. And there's still quite a few players here from the Jose Mourinho era is inheriting. So let's just put that into the equation. But like I said before, reflecting on our poor performances, not all of the blame stems from Solskjaer. Yes, he's accountable for certain things because his tactics and his team selections have been questioned a lot, but there's also players that have to take responsibility for those poor performances. When Solskjaer does get sacked, he will be the 4th permanent manager to be sacked since Ferguson, because Man United have already sacked 3 managers since Ferguson. We sacked David Moyes after 10 months. We finished 7th under the David Moyes era. That's the lowest we've finished in the Premier League era. We sacked Louis van Gaal after, 2 years or so, won the FA Cup under him. And we sacked Mourinho after 2.5 years. Mourinho did enjoy one good season at Man United because he won 3 trophies in his first season. I think he got us a 2nd place finish in his 2nd full season, but the reasons it didn't work out under Mourinho is because he had bad disputes with the board, bad disputes with the top players, and Mourinho just didn't get the players that he wanted to recommend in. No one is going to replicate what Ferguson did. Ferguson won 30-odd trophies at Manchester United, including 13 Premier League titles. So reflecting on that, he brought success to the club. But there again, Alex Ferguson didn't settle in straight away because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at Man United. So it does take some managers time to settle in. Ferguson, though, was a very long-serving manager. He enjoyed a 27-year managerial tenure at Man United. The only mistake Ferguson made was recommending David Moyes in when he retired, but the reasons he did that is because they're both Scottish, and obviously Ferguson, for some reason, seemed to have a lot of time for Moyes. Players are going to be leaving Manchester United next year. Phil Jones, I think, will be leaving next year. Jones has always been inconsistent and is the only outfield player that's still with us from the Ferguson era. This season is Jones' 11th season at Man United, so he has been a very long-serving player. At one point he was out with a knee injury for a while. He made his comeback in that behind closed doors game against Burnley earlier on this season. Eric Bailly, I think he's going next year, unfortunately. You know, Bailly doesn't get regular game time. Bailly lost his place in the team a while ago, obviously with the signing of Varane in the summer transfer window, and Solskar prefers Lindelof ahead of Eric Bailly, don't ask me why. Bailly's made 3 appearances so far this season. He was abysmal in the 2-0 defeat to Man City. I was shocked in that aspect because he put a very good performance out in the 2-2 draw against Atalanta. You know, he made some good interventions and some good blocks, and he played well against West Ham in the Cup earlier on this season. My only concern about Bailly is injury prone. Towards the end of last season, he signed a new contract with Man United till 2024. There's an option of a further year. Bailly's been at Man United for 5.5 years now. We got him from Villarreal back in 2016 for 30 million. Diego Dalot, I think he's also going next year because Dalot doesn't really get in the team, does he? Dalot's our backup right back to Pisaka. Dalot will only play when Pisaka's not available, but in some of the games Dalot's been involved in, he has been consistent. Last season, Dalot was out on loan with AC Milan, reflecting on that he gained some experience. We got Dalot around 3 years ago from Porto. We paid around 19 million for him, and he's got a contract with Man United till 2023. Dean Henderson, I think he's going out on loan next year. Well, he said he wants to go out on loan. You know, Henderson doesn't get his opportunities now, does he? Because De Gea reclaimed that number 1 spot back. Henderson's only been in goal for 1 game so far this season. That was the cup game against West Ham. But at one point Henderson was out with COVID for a while. But at one point last season he got that number 1 jersey, did Henderson. And he did well in a lot of the games he was in goal for last season. Before the start of last season, Henderson signed a 6-year contract with Man United, so reflecting on that, he committed his future to the club, and he has got some experience behind him because he endured 2 successful loans with Sheffield. He's also had other loan spells before. Tellez, I think he's also going next year because Tellez is another one that doesn't really get in the team. You know, Tellez will only play when Luke Shaw's not available. He's a good left-back, Tellez, but I haven't had much of a perception on him. But in some of the games he's been involved in, he's been consistent. He was out with injury earlier on this season, Tellez. We got Tellez in a deal worth 15.4 million from Porto. We brought Tellez in to provide competition for Luke Shaw. Matic, I think he's also leaving next year. Matic isn't one of our first choice midfielders, but despite that, he still seems to get his opportunities. And surprisingly enough, he's ahead of Van der Beek in our midfield. I think Matic is the only predominant centre defensive midfielder we've got. I've always had my reservations about Matic, even though he has had some good games at United. You know, Matic has always been a static midfielder, and he's aging up. He's been at the club for 4.5 years. We got Matic for 40 million from Chelsea back in 2017. Pogba, he's another one that I think's leaving next year. He said not so long ago that Man United are prepared to sell Paul Pogba in the January transfer window. Well, it makes sense to cash in for him in January rather than let him go on a free next summer. Well, Pogba may never play for the club again anyway because Pogba's out for around 2 months because Pogba suffered a thigh injury in France training. Pogba's obviously got 1 game to serve in the league out of the 3-match ban he got. He got sent off in the 5-0 defeat to Liverpool. Pogba did play in the 2-2 draw against Atalanta. Pogba did enjoy a good start to the Premier League season. You know, he's got 7 assists so far in the league this season. He produced good performances for Man United in the last couple of months of last season. Not so long ago, reports from France did say, though, that Pogba wants to renew his contract with Man United, but reportedly on one condition, that he's made the Premier League's highest paid player. So he wants to overtake Ronaldo as the highest paid player. Pogba's one of the highest paid players as it stands at the moment. Pogba receives around 290 grand a week on his current contract, and his current contract expires next summer. Before the start of this season, Pogba rejected a new Man United contract offer. And Donny van der Beek, he's confirmed that he will be leaving in January. You know, Donny van der Beek is frustrated at Man United because he hasn't been given enough game time. So reflecting on that, I haven't had much of a perception on him. But I've said Solskar should be starting Van der Beek, especially in the Premier League, because he's a good player. Van der Beek's endured what a difficult 18 months, 19 months at Man United. This season is his second full season. We got him in a deal worth 40 million with add-ons included. He's got a contract with Man United till 2025 and there's an option of a further year. Lingard, I think he's another player that's leaving Man United next year. Well, not so long ago it said Lingard could leave for just £10 million. We need to cash in for him in January because Lingard's current contract at Man United expires next summer. Earlier on this season, Lingard rejected a new Man United contract offer because of 2 players. Lingard doesn't really get in the team anyway. He has made a few appearances this season. Earlier on this season, Solskar actually said he wants Lingard to stay at Man United. He has been part of the club for a long time. He risen up our academy in that. Last season, Lingard endured a 4-month loan spell with West Ham and he made an impact. West Ham wanted him in this year's summer transfer window, but they were struggling to meet our 25 million asking price. And I think Mata, Martial and Cavani will also be leaving the club next year. So anyway guys, there will be more videos coming up tomorrow. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.